Hey internet, this is a new unboxing video I'm doing for the Circa Premium S91 controller for the Super Nintendo or the Super Famicom if you live in Japan. Now the Super Nintendo, it's a pretty old system. It got released about 26 years ago now, and the last game it had a release for was about 17 years ago. So some of these systems and the controllers, they're in pretty bad shape. I mean, the buttons are fucked up, or the cord's a bit fucked up, D-pad isn't working properly, and so on and so forth. I mean, unless you're really taking care of them, they've probably got cosmetic damages and stuff. So they're still sought after, though. People are always looking for the regular or the original controllers, but because of the feel of it. But they're not always the greatest, and they might be a bit too overpriced, and so on and so forth. Your only other option is, I mean, unless you get one of those clone controllers, they come, or sorry, clone consoles like the Retro Duo or the Retron 2. They come with pretty decent Super Nintendo style controllers, but they still feel kind of cheap and not right. If you buy a third party, like I got a Hydra over here. This was $10 I picked up from a store, and I don't know. It's like it's cheap plastic. It feels like it was assembled by an 8-year-old in like fucking Gaojing somewhere or some shit like that. Buttons suck dick, and this is all cheap. D-pad can just lick my balls for all I'm concerned. They're not too great. So I've been reading up on different controllers, third-party controllers to get. Something that's like I knew I would never find anything close to the original controllers, but I needed the best feeling third-party controller I could find. And then I heard about this one right here, the Cirka S91, and it's actually made by the Hyperkin, who makes the Retron systems, Retrons 1 to 5, and some other accessories. So I read up a couple reviews, and a lot of people say that this is actually a straight duplicate of an actual original Nintendo controller, Super Nintendo controller. The feel of it and all that, and it's kind of hard to believe, but I went out and I bought the thing. I picked it up for $16 at my local game shop. I'll put a couple of links to where you can buy it on the internet and all that. But let's find out how this thing really is. So, Premium S91, we're gonna open it up. I hate these boxes. What's the point of this shit? They never hang it up anyway. It's always behind. It's never on a thing. It's always behind some glass. They put it behind. All right. There we go. I think the cord is supposed to be like 6 feet or something. Alright, well. Hey, you know what? This isn't bad. I think people are right. This is actually, it feels like I'm holding a Super Nintendo controller. Like a original one. The plastic isn't cheap at all. The start and select buttons feel nice. The D-pad feels a bit weird, but I mean, I'll try it out with like Contra and all that kind of shit where you need the 8 directions. The button's not like cheap plastic. It feels like the actual Super Nintendo buttons. And yeah, these are oh man, the fucking trigger fingers are pretty good too. And yeah, this feels really nice. This actually feels like a Super Nintendo controller. You know, you got the back over here. It passed the quality control. Thank God for that. Yeah, this is I'm gonna compare it with the. I don't have a Super Nintendo. I got a Famicom or a Super Famicom, so I'm gonna go ahead and. It's pretty much the same fucking thing. I'm gonna go ahead and compare it with that. The only difference with that is these buttons are curved, but they feel like, you know, the same plastic. You know, unlike the fucking Hydro controller I got for $10. Yeah, this is just cheap plastic. Listen to that hollowness. And it's not, you don't hear too much of that in these. So yeah, it feels, you know what? This is like a perfect replica of a Super Nintendo controller. I mean, if I was still doing like those stupid shit I did as a kid to, you know, money making schemes, I'd probably go ahead and erase this somehow and get like a Super Nintendo logo on it and try to sell it on the internet. And people would fall for it because people are fucking stupid. Anyway, let's try it out and see how it is. You know, I just want to say one thing right off the bat. I'm really digging the fact that the cord's really long. Let's see, how big is this? Hope it says over here on the box somewhere. That's got to be like 6 or 8 feet or something, but it's nice, you know, compared to my original Super Famicom controller cord. It's pretty small. It's only like not even a meter. And you know, I guess I don't know if it was the same with the Super Nintendos because I didn't have a Super Nintendo growing up, and but you know, with the Japanese controllers, it makes sense for them to be really small because the apartments in Japan are so small that everything's just kind of there, so they just sit in front of the TV anyway and play the fucking thing. So first of all, we're gonna try. I got Street Fighter 2. You know what? Fuck that. Let's try something basic. Let's try. I got Mario World over here, so we're gonna pop that in. D-pad's nice and responsive. It's usually not the case with most third-party controllers I buy. The start button feels nice. A lot of the third-party controllers make Mario Near impossible to play. But this handles well. Like, I'm not having an issue with the D-pad, which is just amazing, because that's the case with third-party stuff. Clearly, I suck at this game. There we go. So that's Mario. And now we're going to give Street Fighter a try. You know, get to utilize those shoulder buttons or trigger buttons or whatever. So, this is the Japanese version of it, which I think has a guy jerking off at the Ken stage. With any luck, that might be the first stage I go to. Or not. We'll do the gay Russian nightclub then. It usually never takes me this long to do one of those flying kicks or a special, so not too. Well, there we go. I can't tell if it's just because, like, my hands are shaking from how fucking cold it is in my house, or if it's the controller, but we'll give it another try after I lose this round. Well, I got some specials in there. And that's also another important thing with these fucking third-party controllers is being able to do a proper fireball or Hadouken or whatever. There we go. Yeah, so it works pretty good for Street Fighter. And we're gonna try out one more game. Contra is kind of a big deal with controllers because you got your 8-way of 8-directional shooting. I don't have Contra, unfortunately, but I do got an EverDrive. Check out my review for that. I'll link it. I saw a kid once choke another kid out with the Super Nintendo cord. It was pretty awesome. I think I was about 10 then. Pretty much what happened was they were playing NBA Jam, and the one kid accused the other kid of cheating, but the other kid who was being accused didn't like that so much, so he took the controller and just wrapped it around the kid's neck. The kid turned pretty blue. Yeah, this is nice, you know. I've always had a problem with this game with third-party controllers. Like the Hydra one I showed you is, you know, it just the fucking D-pad on that one just has a mind of its own. But this feels nice. But yeah, no, this is working fine. I'm not gonna continue playing this game because this game makes me want to fucking throw shit at people eventually, just because how hard it is. Oh, I'm having some problem here though. It's not shooting directly down. See, I'm pushing. See, now it's doing it. Well, I guess the D-pads with these things, they'll never be perfect like the original controller. I'm actually gonna just try this out with the Famicom controller to see. Also, these fuckers really click in there, so it's kind of a pain in the ass to take out. Yeah, see, I can't. I'm having trouble doing this on the fucking premium controller, but it works perfectly fine here on the original Famicom or Super Famicom controller. I'm gonna go ahead and try again on the premium controller just for measure. Also, this is kind of cheap, but I mean, what are you gonna do, right? Yeah, I'm pushing down, and I'm you know, I'm going left or right rather. So that's kind of a big concerning. But I mean, I guess it's a fucking third-party controller. But in terms of that, this is like the best one I've used in terms of like the feel of it and the buttons. Well, everything except the D button, which sucks ass apparently. But now it's kind of, you really gotta be fickle with it. Yep, see, I'm pushing down right now. And it's going, right. Alright, well, there you have it. That's the Cirka controller. Don't ditch your original controllers for it. But, it's probably, in terms of all the other third-party controllers go, it's probably the best one out there right now. Again, it's only about $15–16. I'll link a couple sites on the bottom. Yeah. Fuck, I was really hoping that D-pad would be good, but I guess not, huh? What are you gonna do, right?